What's going on, everybody? Martha Cross 316 back with another comic book flashback. Today we are looking at the Incredible Hulk issue number 5. This issue came out in January of 1963, and today we're going to be looking at a first appearance, the first appearance of Tyrannus here. He's going to be a big supervillain here in this issue here, and he's going to go up against the Incredible Hulk. We have two great stories to look at, so let's go ahead now and get started with the first story. The first story is Beauty and the Beast. This issue is brought to you by Stan Lee, who wrote this issue. We had the art by Jack Kirby, the inking by Dick Ayers, and the lettering page by Art Simek. And so, like I said, we had the first appearance of Tyrannus. Who the heck is this guy? Well, we're going to find out exactly who this guy is as we start this spectacular issue off with a bang. We start out the issue here and we have General Thunderbolt Ross. He's basically showing a demonstration of how the Hulk has been able to defeat General Thunderbolt Ross and his men at every turn. It doesn't matter if it's a big gigantic magnet or a giant missile. We see that the Hulk is just unstoppable. And so he's giving this demonstration to none other than Bruce Banner here. And he basically saying, Bruce, I want you to figure out how you can find a way to capture and defeat the Hulk. And so Bruce Banner gives his word, and he also basically says that he's going to be working with Rick Jones to basically capture the Hulk, not knowing that, of course, Hulk is actually Bruce Banner. The Thunderbolt Ross doesn't know that, and of course, Betty Ross, as we see here, is deeply in love with Bruce Banner, but she's afraid to reveal that to her father. Now we see exactly who this Tyrannus figure is here. He's looking in this crystal ball. We come to find out that Tyrannus actually is a guy from way back in the medieval period. He was an enemy of Merlin, who is also a magician, and we learned that basically Tyrannus has been drinking from this fountain of youth here, and this is what's been keeping him alive this entire time. He's surrounded himself with these minions here, this underworld kind of population here. He's been sentenced to the underworld because of Merlin, but thanks to not only the fountain of youth, but this race of people, basically, he's been able to survive here underground, and now he's wanting to strike revenge against the surface world here, as we will soon see. So we see that Tyrannus now, as he looked into the crystal ball, he's going to use Betty Ross as an instrument here to basically demonstrate his power. So he disguises himself as an archaeologist, comes to Bruce Banner and Rick Jones, basically saying, "Hey, nice to meet y'all. I hear that you're friends with Bruce Banner, or basically friends with Betty Ross here." And we see that Tyrannus then is going to take Betty Ross to this cave here, and she doesn't know that this is actually a trap. Bruce Banner has a bad feeling about it, so he's going to follow along with Rick Jones. Come to find out that, of course, we see here that Tyrannus has this big equipment here that is able to go underground. He has this futuristic technology. You don't know exactly how he got that technology. See that we then see Hulk comes into the picture here as Bruce Banner races back to his lab to change back to Hulk. He's going to follow Tyrannus underground, and this is where a lot of the action takes place. We see Tyrannus uses his machine here to cause a bunch of gas here, knocks out both Hulk and Rick Jones. They are left unconscious. When they basically come to, we see that Hulk is now taken prisoner, and he's going to be putting on this gear here. It looks like he's been given this armor here, and he's going to fight this gigantic robot here. So we got some pretty cool action here. Hulk going up against this fire-breathing robot here. And can Hulk be able to basically stop this robot? Well, we'll see that he is able to defeat the robot. And not only is he going angry at what's going on, he's going to basically try to destroy the entire empire that Tyrannus has built underground here. As we see, Hulk pretty much snaps. Every ounce of Dr. Bruce Banner that was within him has just pretty much been eliminated here. Hulk is just now a brute. But we see that Hulk is then going to be defeated. He's going to act as a slave. I mean, he is worked to death here. Betty Ross is worried about this because now Tyrannus is saying that he's going to basically kill Hulk here. We see that this guy comes to Tyrannus here. It's actually Rick Jones in disguise. He saves Betty Ross. We then see that Hulk is going to break free from his cell here. And this is where the Hulk is going to cause the defeat of Tyrannus and his slaves here as Hulk takes both pillars, topples all these pillars, and they basically fall on top of Tyrannus and his men, and Tyrannus is defeated and basically killed thanks to the Hulk. And because of all the action that's taken place, Betty Ross is in an amnesic kind of mind right now. She's in dealing with amnesia basically, so she doesn't remember Hulk saving her. So that's pretty bad. But that's how we end the first story. Now on to the second story here. We see that we're going to be seeing the hordes of General Fang, and they're going to be going up against the Hulk here. Hulk is getting some exercise outside, as we see here, when all of a sudden General Thunderbolt Ross is going to launch this iceberg missile. And this is not the first time that we've seen General Thunderbolt Ross launch this kind of missile. We see that Rick Jones tries to get the attention of the Hulk, but he is far too late. The missile works, causes Hulk to freeze in midair. Hulk plunges to the ground. General Thunderbolt Ross looks like he's going to get a victory here, but we see that Hulk is able to use his own mass weight here to thaw out here, and Hulk is able to escape here. We see that Rick Jones is going to follow the Hulk inside of this basically cave here, where they've been basically changing back and forth from Bruce Banner to the Hulk. So Hulk changes back to Bruce Banner thanks to that machine. Pretty cool advertisements here. We see here that Bruce Banner is feeling weak, but his biggest concern here is that every time that he turns into the Hulk, it's harder and harder for him to change back to Hulk, or basically to Bruce Banner, because there's just not that willpower there. So now we're going to meet General Fang. He's basically this big dictator wanting to take over Asia. And we see that the people here in this Providence here are worried about General Fang because they see that his army is approaching, as we see right here with all his tanks and army. So all the news comes to America. It's on the radio. Bruce Banner learns about it. So there's only one way to stop General Fang, and that is for Bruce Banner to change into the Hulk. And so that's exactly what he does here. We see that for some reason, Hulk goes to the library of Bruce Banner and takes this book called Strange Myths and Legends. And this is the funniest part. Rick Jones and the Hulk get on this airplane here, and he's in disguise, but of course the flight attendant realizes that it's the Hulk as she screams out. So now the Hulk and Rick Jones have to evacuate the plane, and so Hulk and Rick Jones are going to basically travel to Asia on ground here, and within no time Hulk arrives in Asia here, and he basically is going to be confronted by General Fang's men here, and just some great stuff, great artwork, great storytelling. Jack Kirby, Stan Lee doing some awesome artwork here, and this is why the Hulk here wanted to grab that book, is because he's going to disguise himself as the abominable snowman. So again, some pretty corny and hilarious stuff here within this issue. And for some reason, the men of General Fang are afraid of the abominable snowman. I guess that is one of the kind of fan fiction kind of monsters that they're afraid of at this point. So General Fang is being frustrated here because Hulk is ruining his plans, and he said, I'll defeat him. I'll cause this 3D image of a giant dragon to throw him off. But Hulk is smart enough to evade that. He then falls into a trap planned by General Fang, and it's filled with electricity here. And we see that Hulk is going to be saved here by a disguised Rick Jones here. Rick Jones once again comes to the save here. I mean, what a great friend for the Hulk. We see these missiles are launched here. Hulk is going to use those missiles to basically cause a diversion here, as we soon see. And General Fang's men is trapped in the midst of this as things start to get out of hand. And once again, Hulk just outsmarts and outpowers General Fang's men here as he bends these trees to his will, causing hurricane-like winds to cause a big disturbance here. General Fang is trying to get away here in his car, and Hulk is going to then use this giant rock as a cork as these geysers are all over the place, causing General Fang's vehicle to then float in the air. Just some crazy stuff. Hulk grabs a hold of General Fang, and he's going to then drop General Fang right into enemy ground here. And General Fang is now going to be captured by his enemies. And so that's how we end this issue. We see Hulk and Rick Jones here are going to return back to their cave in America. And we see that Hulk is planning on being around for a very long time. And so, hope you like these two stories within issue number 5. And we'll be looking at issue number 6 coming up next in this series. And so, go ahead, give this video a like, and I will see y'all in the next one.